Well, there I am. It said I was on, then it said I didn't have an internet connection, and now it says I'm on. Hi. I'm working on some bags today. Bags and then back to ugly quilt stuff. And somebody was destashing, so I got some cool fabric to use for my quilting too. So I get to play with some of that today. There I am. Yeah, I clicked the button and it said I was on. I guess it kicked me back off again or something. I'm like, la 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 la, hi everybody. Then I'm seeing go live. It's like, okay. Anyway, how you doing? How's the new job doing? How's that going? This feels kind of weird to be making bags after how long? 6 months. Well, May until just a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago. So June, July, August, September, October, November, 7 months. 7 months. Ah, that's okay. Hello. I haven't been on for a bit. I went through a stage. Every now and again, I go through a stage. You ever do? I don't know if this happens to you guys. Every now and again, I go through a stage where I just need to have a nap. I just need to have a nap. So I'm like super tired in the afternoons. So it's like, nope, looks like napping is my new hobby for the next week or so. It happens. I go through this once in a while. It's not related to anything. It's not related to anything. I cycle into napping a lot, but I was also dealing, I think it was because of the insomnia, because I had several insomnia nights. Whenever I've had a few nights of insomnia, I almost always trigger back into also needing to nap during the day. So whatever. But anyway, I asked Jenny about her new job. Oh, I'm loving it. My team works very well together. The communication is fantastic. I'm really happy with the new job overall so far. That is awesome. That's always the thing, eh? Every time we're trying something new, it's not okay. Like if I try something new with a piece of fabric, I'm throwing away a piece of fabric. When you're trying something new with an entire career, I did hear you're about to have a snowpocalypse, but yeah, making permanent life changes, that's a lot different. It's a lot more scary. Yeah, I heard about the snowpocalypse. Apparently you guys are getting an ice storm. I don't know what the deal on that is. Has it started yet? I have lived through my fair share of snowpocalypses. They're not fun. I'm just going to use the same stitch I was already using. Yeah, friend, Donna, Ozark Oracle. If you know her channel, I don't think she's doing videos anymore. I know life got really well. She was working as a reader in next town over from where she lives. But yeah, she was talking about it on her Facebook about that they're expecting a major ice storm where she is. I'm like, ouch. We're supposed to have snow and maybe ice, and to start in the morning for 2 days, it's supposed to snow. Oh, for you too, Linda? There's a nerve. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad Lisa's readings are helping you. Yeah, it's the snow isn't such a bad thing. It's annoying. You know what? Okay, there's two things that are really bad. Like when I first moved out, the first year I moved out here, I don't know why I'm getting another one out. I'm still working on blues. The first year that I moved out here, we had like a foot of snow. This was like 2006, so it was Canada we hosted the 2010 Olympics out here, but we had like a foot of snow, and me and the kids are from Ontario, where we get lake effect, which means that 3 feet of snow in a couple of days isn't unusual, right? But the two things that happened is we had a layer of ice. Nobody could cope with that. And at the same time, no snow removal equipment. And that is worse That is the worst thing. That is the worst possible thing that can happen, is to not have any snow equipment, because if you can't clean it up, you can't get past it. It hasn't started, but I'm hungry. Yeah, getting cozy for it. Yeah. Yeah, because now, Linda, you're in Bowling Green. I forget where you are. So that's Kentucky. That's kind of okay. That's south. That's south from where. That's south from my perspective, from where I grew up. Yeah, as long as I don't lose power for too long. Usually, when you lose power in a storm like this, it's not individually. It's because a local transformer's gone out, and then the question becomes, can they get to it to fix it? But no, I've lived through. I don't think I've ever been in a series. Well, I've been in some pretty significant ice and snow events, storms, blizzards, all kinds of shit. North in the Ozark. Oh yeah, you're in the Ozark, so you're probably a spitting distance from Donna. Like, her channel is Ozark Oracle. Hey, Aaron. It's going to be from Texas all the way to the East Coast and down into the South, and it's going, wow. Yeah, last time you guys had something like that, I remember, like I said, where I come from, it's different, because where I come from, we expect this at least once or twice a year. So if you want to live, they invest in it. So being able to, like they bring in tons and tons of salt, and they have we have sidewalk plows where I come from. Little plows that plow the sidewalks for you. Minnesota might even have them too. Northern Minnesota, yeah. Do you have like things like sidewalk plows, Aaron? But then when we came out here, though, they'd never heard of such a thing. I'm like, well, when are they going to get the sidewalk plows out so we can walk? And they're like, what's a sidewalk plow? I was like, okay. But yeah, this whole area here, we had a snowstorm. I think it was the first or second year I moved here. There was a snowstorm, and it shut down everything. I was so. Yeah, plows for street and sidewalk. When you get out here in Vancouver, where I am, they have plows. They've been salting the roads a bunch already. I've been seeing big road plows and stuff. Yeah, get that salt down. And if you have salt, save it until after, if you can. Because if you get freezing rain, ice underneath a crust of, a layer of salt water underneath the crust of ice does not help you with anything. Oh, nice. We got stuck in a snowstorm. The snowstorm that we got stuck in, we were actually down in Seattle at the time, when we saw some guy with a forklift and just an old pallet. We saw some guy with a forklift with an old pallet to the front, trying to use that to push the snow around. That nobody out here had that kind of stuff. They brought it all in. They finally invested when the Olympics came to town, and they've been maintaining the machinery ever since. But yeah, it was snow and ice tips. Well, if you lose power, if things freeze up, especially if you're like, if things freeze up, and or like if you're in the country where you need power to run your to run your well water. Sometimes well waters run on pumps. Some extra water to flush your toilet. Extra water for you. Probably not a necessity if you live in town, because it's a different system. But if you have multi-wick candles, keep them for. Don't get into your multi-wick candles right away, because in an emergency you can actually cook on them. Not a lot. You're not gonna. My dad. Whenever we would have a power outage, Dad, if it lasted for more than a few hours, Dad would like get out his because he used to pour off all of our excess. Whenever we had wax for any reason, he poured off and put like 3 or 4 wicks in a coffee can as a big candle, and you can get enough heat off of a multi-wick candle to heat up a can of soup or something like that. Sounds weird, but knowing that you have an option. Snow just hunker down and wait for it to go away. Ice is your problem. Ice is your problem. Save back some of your salt and sand. Because if it's icy and you have to go out, just a light sprinkle. You're not melting it. Just a light sprinkle as you walk for traction can make all the difference. Don't try and drive. Trust me, don't try and drive. We had to drive home once. We were driving home and kind of got stuck in it, right? Cars, like cartoonishly insane how many cars were on the side of the road. Yeah, just all the extra wax. If you have, basically the problem is if you have ice, because basically what happens is you can look this up on the internet, but what freezing rain does is it's called super cooled. So you got this drop of liquid water that's already below freezing. And so it freezes on contact. So if, like, say you're in an apartment and all your windows are on this side of the house, and this is the direction that the rain's coming from, then it can like seal all your doors and windows up. And then if you do, so if they start sealing, because houses have natural drafts, right? Well, if you seal up all those natural drafts, the carbon monoxide from even 2 or 3 candles can build up and kill you. That's, or I'm going to bring the barbecue inside, but I'm only going to run it for 20 minutes. People get hurt doing every time there's a major ice storm, you read about it after. So-and-so brought their, the little propane things, basically things that you normally can have, things that you could normally get away with using indoors for short periods of time suddenly become very problematic. I'm saying it all ass backwards. Like I said, yeah, it's much safer to eat a can of cold ravioli than it is to be running flames if you have no ventilation. It's all about it's all about your ventilation. But no, the biggest tips are do everything in your power to stay indoors until the worst of it's past. Yeah. Especially if it's like regular rain. It's going to come down like regular rain. It's going to look, if you get the freezing rain part of it, right? If you get the freezing rain part of it, it's going to look and feel like regular rain, but it's going to freeze on contact. So, this one's like almost broken. Oops, that's not how it goes. But the thing is that as it's hitting, it's the same with snow, but snow is really obvious, right? So making sure you have just enough. They call it what do they call it? Breathing, that the house needs to breathe. And they actually, around your doors or whatever. And also around your doors or whatever, if you do get enough of that shit happening, you might not be able to open your door. You might not be able to open your door for the first little bit. And that's not, as long as you have a front and a back door, you're usually fine. But yeah, you're in an apartment building and you have a natural fireplace, but everything is sealed shut because of the rain, then warming up your house by getting the fireplace going isn't necessarily going to be safe. It's very unlikely that your fireplace flue would seal shut, but at the very least, get a little bit of something smoky and make sure it's going to go up. Anyway, that's the paranoid. Why am I doing this upside down? Because I'm distracted. Hi guys, I'm distracted. I don't know. You know what it is? It's like explain walking, right? It was like, well, no, it's like whenever this happens, this is what you do. And then you don't, then when you're trying to think about it for somebody else's benefit, you just can't do it. But save as much salt as you realistically can. If you're stuck walking, here's a good one. Okay. So this is solid, right? A layer of ice forms on this. It's going to make it more solid. This is your driveway. The grassy areas on either side of your driveway. So if your driveway is iced over, if possible, walk down the sides, because the all you've got is your asphalt or concrete and a layer of ice. So it's nice and soft. It's a skate, even if it's only that, even if it's like that, just that thick, it's still a skating rink until it starts breaking up. So if you're walking, if you have to be outside on this frozen, crusty, crunchy ground, walking on the flat surfaces is you're literally walking on a skating rink. And because it's like an ice rink after the Zamboni came, it's super crazy, right? And but if you have to be out, if you go off to the sides a little bit, it's more the ground is usually more flexible, more uneven. So then when you step on it, you're going to break through the ice and get more traction, especially if you don't. It's especially helpful if you don't have. What the fuck did I just do? There we go. Touch it. It's one of the. It's a trick. It's a trick that you see kids doing, right? It's like, get off to the side. Honestly, the best tip. Don't apologize. Don't apologize to friends or coworkers. Well, I made it to work. Why didn't you make it to work? Well, because it's dangerous. Every year, because where I come from, this was every year, right? Every year. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think the ice was a big deal. Totaled my car. Blah, blah, blah. Don't let anybody guilt or shame you into going out into it if you don't have to. Mind you, if you have a chance to go out in it, it's really interesting because sometimes you get a layer of snow, then you get a layer of ice, then you get a thin layer of ice, then you get a layer of snow, then you get a layer of ice. Us kids, we used to love that stuff because you just go, how far can you crunch through before it stops and stuff like that. But here's a good one. Here's a good piece of advice. When it comes time and you need to get that crap off your doors and windows and whatever, just remember that this stuff is sealed to whatever you're working on. If you're smashing away at a hammer to break up the ice, you're also smashing away at whatever's behind it. Lots and lots of people have ended up smashing out their windows, denting the crap out of their cars, doing whatever, trying to knock the ice off. What you want to do is you want to go tap, 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 tap. And then if a little bit, you go tap, 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 and you see that little bit of air bubble go in, and then you peel it back. You can break apart the ice that's on. You can break apart the ice that's on your stuff. That's not difficult at all. Just be aware that whatever part of your stuff is frozen is going to take the same impact as the ice. So you may not want to, like I said, tap, 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 peel it back. Once you have your power back, oh shit, yeah, all the time, every fucking year. Every year there's about a dozen shit bags that go out. I can drive in this, I'd be fine. And they're out there bombing around, smash up their cars, and then they're trying to break the ice off their doors or windows, breaking them. And this is from people who live in northern areas and experience at least one event a year. Now we're lucky. When it happened here, everything shut down for at least a week. They did not know how to cope. They had no tool. The people that live in here had no experience with it, and they had no infrastructure or equipment to cope with it. It was crazy. There was far less stuff out here than what I was used to. But me and the kids are looking, because this is either our first or second, we're looking around going, why is everybody freaking out? This is weird. But your biggest problem is people not being used to the conditions. So they're trying to drive like nothing's wrong. They're trying to smash away at their pipes, and because smashing away at your pipe, and suddenly what water is flowing through your pipes is now blasting up into your face. Like, I don't know why I'm coughing. You can fuck up a lot of your stuff. But Because it's like, okay, like if you have a bit of a freeze overnight and there's some ice on your pipes, you go tap tap tap, the ice comes off. But in freezing rain, everything can be. You could have 30 feet. You could have 30 feet of pipe or hosing that's covered in ice. Not all of it's going to tolerate your wild smashing, but I think that's the biggest thing. Like, take the threat of carbon monoxide poisoning very seriously, and remember that if it's snow can already insulate. Against snow can already clog up your shit so that there's not so the ventilation's bad, but freezing rain can actually penetrate right in. And yeah, like I said, don't be paranoid about it. Don't sit there and go, I can't run a candle, I'll die of carbon monoxide poisoning. But also don't light up every candle that you've got just to be cozy if you haven't. And all you got to do is take a candle, put it near your door or window, light a candle, take it near your doors and windows. If you can see a little bit of wafting, you're good. You're usually just fine. But if you can't feel any bit of a draft coming off of anything, then yeah, limit yourself to one candle. Open your door once in a while just to make sure there's some air, open something a crack for some air exchange if you can. And don't forget, like, well, as long as you still have electricity, you can turn on your hood fan over your stove just to keep some circulation going. But also don't be paranoid. Don't be paranoid. Like, I mean, those are extreme circumstances, and they usually involve people doing some really weird shit. Like, the family hopped in the family hopped in the car and turned it on for an hour to warm up in the garage, without realizing that the garage had been iced shut and there was no airflow. Like, it's got to be, yeah. But yeah, try to relax. Don't force yourself to go out in it. Lots and lots of blankets. Make sure you say, if you have a battery operated radio or whatever, don't use your phone as a flashlight, because if you run out of power, Donna, you know what? I'm going to flip over. Donna actually on her Facebook wrote a pretty comprehensive list of things that you should think about. Let's see if I can go find it. There it is. Where she write it? Yeah, because her family, she's in the Ozarks, and her family got hit with an ice storm, and they lost. Okay, here's her hints that she learned from the last one that may be helpful. Do all your laundry now. If you don't have power, you can't run a washing machine or dryer. Fair enough. If you've got anything that you think you're going to need in the next couple of days, make sure it's washed now. White jar candles put out more light than darker waxed ones. The entire jar illuminates. Don't forget to have a lighter and matches where you don't have to hunt them down in the dark. Yeah, so make sure you got your power outage supplies ready. Have more drinking water than here's a good one. Have more drinking water than you think you'll need, because you'll be using that clean water to wash a few dishes too. This is for, like, if there's concern that your pipes might freeze, or if you're in an area that requires electricity to run your water pump. I know Donna's rural, so that might not apply to anybody living in the city. Cook some things ahead of time, and/or have canned goods that you can eat with no fuss. You'll end up eating it whether the power goes out or not. So yeah, so if you've got something, make sure you have a couple of days worth of food prepped and ready to go. And that it's something you can eat cold if you have no power. Make sure you have pet food or animal feed, because there may not be any running into town if you're low on it. Make sure your phone doesn't get too low on power until this passes. We don't have landlines anymore. That's true. So if you have a landline, you're fine. But if there's no landlines anymore, so you'll want to make sure you don't run your phone down, and so in case you need to call for help. Batteries for your flashlights, top off gas tanks and any gas cans that you might have. In 2007 in her area, we had a hell of a time trying to get gas in our cars, much less for a generator if we were fortunate enough to own one. If you have an elderly or disabled neighbor, check with them today or tomorrow and see if they need any help shopping for things so they're prepared too. Leave them your phone number just in case. What was the other one I just thought of? I just thought of another one. It's not as big a list as it seems. Like, you can survive on crackers and water for a very long time. If you're out of power, you can survive on crackers and water for a really, really long time if that's what you need to do. So, don't open your fridge unless you absolutely have to. If you lose power, leave your fridge closed. So if you are like, but I have to. There it is. But if you're like, okay, like for us, we've got a diabetic dog, right? So it's like, oh, don't open your fridge. It's like, we have to open it twice a day, no matter what, right? If you are in an area that you think is going to get really battered by this storm, if this storm comes in really bad and you're like, oh my God, this is nuts, then if you need to, make a list of what's in the fridge so that you can look at your list instead of going over and holding. Because if you lose power every time you open the fridge, you lose about 10 to 15 degrees from the fridge. And then it takes a very, very short period of time before everything in it is just not, you're going to be throwing away a lot of stuff. If you do have an area though, yes, you can. I was just going to say that. Fill your bathtub for cleaning and flushing if you need to. Just don't forget that most bathtubs actually slowly drip out the water over time. So if it's a like I said, if this storm hits and your area is getting particularly pounded, you're going to find out very quickly, very, very quickly. So like if you've got tote bags, whatever, you can, the plastic tubs, you can think about that. If you've got an area like, okay, if you've got a mud room or a back porch or an area like that, then if you've got an area that can stay cool or cold, and that can even be true for your freezer stuff as long as you're willing to check on it. But if you've got if you're in a position where you can put your refrigerated items near a cold source, then people do that. What was the other one? Oh my God. So many little things. Basically where I come from, we'd be like, there's some freezing rain. And then unless it hits us, like during the winter, you just make sure you're stocked up on stuff, right? And then you just go from there. You can put your freezer stuff outside. If you're in a position where you, like, say you've got a balcony and you can put your frozen stuff in a tote out on your balcony, keep it close to your refrigerator, depending on what your temperatures get to. But I gotta blow my nose, of course. It's been 5 minutes. Right back. Oh, here's another one. It's temperatures drop. This is okay. As long as you have power, you're fine. You're just stuck at home until the roads are clear, right? And like I said, save as much of your salt as you can for afterwards, because a layer of salt can still be covered by a layer of freezing. I get it. You put down your salt and then it melts its way up, right? But that doesn't happen right away. And until that does start happening, everything on top is just an ice rink, a little bit. And you don't need to use crazy amounts. Well, use whatever's comfortable for you, but try to save at least half of your salt for afterwards so that you have some traction for when you do need to move around outdoors. The catastrophe situation is you've lost power. Not catastrophe. You've lost power. It's been more, you've lost power and you're going on to 24 hours and the house is getting cold. Then you're looking at grab every blanket in the house. Obviously, sleep under 6 blankets if you need to, because it's better to be weighted down by extra blankets and wake up with the beginnings of frostbite on your fingers. If there's more than one person in the house, consider if it starts to get cold, put everything put everybody in the same room for sleeping. Like, try to stay in the same room as much as possible. If you have extra rooms, like, it's getting really cold. Temperatures are really low. So you can put all your refrigerated stuff into a tote, put it in the bathroom that's closest to an outside wall because it's already cold anyway. Turn the heat off. Shut parts of the house to keep, because body heat can heat up. Body heat can provide a surprising amount of heat. So if it was Lisa and I in an emergency situation, then we've got an ensuite on the master bedroom, right? So we would close all the doors, because this is a big area, we would be in the back bedroom, and that's where we'd be staying until it's over. It's like, nah, we'll just hang out in the back bedroom. We won't come out here unless we need to. Because that way our body heat will help. Because if you've got a bunch of candles, and if you're prepared, you could set up a tent inside to keep warm, because that's yes. If you're living in a very open a tent fort, if you're living in a very open concept living kind of a space, then you're going to want something within that space to help confine all that body heat that's going to be bleeding out into everywhere else. At the very least for sleeping. But like I said, for us in a catastrophe situation, we would have, well, I don't know, because we've also got a fireplace, so the pilot light on that is going all the time. So no, we would just spend most of our time in the back bedroom where it's just the two of us, and that way we've got bedroom and bathroom. So we've got more body. We would need less candles and have more access to body heat. That's what we just hang out back there, sleep back there, use the bathroom. There's a sink. There's a sink for water, so you'd be fine. And then come out for the regular stuff. A lot of times during this kind of weather, the worst part is the storm's over, the sun's out, and you can't go anywhere. That the power's still off because they can't get to you yet because the roads aren't clear. Another thing to remember, though, this actually matters. Hey, Tricia, this is one that actually matters in an ice storm. This is very difficult to describe. Once you only have to see it for yourself once, though, to know water is heavy. Water, you know how heavy snow can be. Like, you see pictures, the snow built up on the farmer's roof and his barn caved in. Well, ice is just as heavy. And so you see a tree that you're used to seeing like this, and it's bent over, almost bent in half because the weight, because it freezes on contact, and then it just starts going over. Hey, Marion, how you doing? It starts going over from the weight of it, from its own weight. So one thing that you can end up with, and it's not, you can look up pictures online, but the thicker the ice is, the thicker the ice is built up to, the greater the chance. And if it's a couple of millimeters, you're not worried about much. It's when you start talking in quarter inch, half inch, stuff like that. Once the amount of ice builds up, I forgot to do that one. I can do it later. Oh wait, I can do this one in black. Then you can start getting trees, branches breaking and stuff like that. So and they can still break even. And unlike snow, okay, snow starts to melt with a little bit of sunlight, and once snow builds up to a certain point on trees and stuff, it'll just start falling back off again. Ice doesn't do that. You're talking like a core of a stick that's got a half inch. It's like it's been dipped and turned into a popsicle, right? So you can have falling branches for hours, sometimes even days after an ice storm. So be aware. Avoid any trees. Avoid any trees or structures that are showing evidence of being visibly pulled down by the weight of the ice. But yeah, I can't think of much beyond. I'm gonna do. I can't think of much beyond that. Yeah, keeping warm. Newspapers very insulating. If you have there are people. Yeah. We had a nice storm that it wouldn't have been 2007 because I was already out here by then. We had an ice storm that went through. It mostly hit Quebec, and they didn't have power for like weeks. And because Quebec is more northern than where I was, so they got a big old ice storm, and then all these trees are covered in an area, a huge thick layer of ice, and it's like also like -30 at the same time because it was really cold. Because that's what happens up here, right? We get the freezing rain, but it's also really cold at the same time. Or it's usually part of a weather drop and blah, blah. But yeah, trees were exploding. Trees, people were la, la, la. Explode isn't quite the right word. It's not like explode. It's more like explode and then just debris everywhere. It's like, so it's not like a catastrophic explosion that way, but yeah. I think I don't know, I would have to look it up, but they estimated, I think, something ridiculous like 25% of the trees died as a result. But don't panic. Don't panic, because don't forget, I'm in Canada, so I'm more northern. And the area that happened was even more northern than where I'm from, in an area of Canada that routinely sees -20 and -30 Celsius for temperatures. I gotta go put these away. I'll be right back. But no, like we had one tree that went like this, then it just kind of went crack and fell the rest of the way down. There's things that you do. It's like you have all these icicles, so you want to break off an icicle, right? But what you don't realize is this icicle is attached to a big giant structure above you. They break off the icicle and a 200-pound block of ice. That's happened, but it's not common. I mean, I don't know how to describe it because where I come from, we only pick off the little icicles. We don't, I suppose northern Minnesota is probably very comparable to where I grew up. Because Minnesota's, I think Minnesota's more northern than Lake Erie. Most of Minnesota is above Lake Erie. Same lake effect, same everything else. But yeah, for us it was kind of normal. So nobody ever freaked out. Nobody ever had extreme reactions or anything like that because it just didn't. We were used to it, so we didn't think much of it. Oh, I am just finishing up some bags. Some look, bags. This is just the top stitching phase where I have to put the decorative stitch just to sew the channel. I'm getting these finished. I'm going to change the subject. I'm getting these finished, and then I get to play with. I don't want that one. What do I want for this one? That's what I want. Don't want that. That's fine. And I think I'm just going to do them all with the same design. But, oh yeah, hibernation mode. Yeah. I'm just kind of coming out of hibernation mode. I've been sitting on my ass doing nothing. I was just mentioning, was I mentioning already? Oh, yeah, I haven't been around much the last little while. Basically, I had a few rounds of insomnia. And then the after effect of too much insomnia is that I jump back into this mode where by 1 o'clock, I'm exhausted and need a nap. Hey, Annie Clayton, how you doing? I am working on some bags for my little Etsy shop, and then I get to work on some quilt squares. I did a thing, it was weird. Okay, anyway, yeah, so back to there's no health update. There's no health issues at all, but I had a few too many. Yeah, that's a little too cold. Minus 62. No, I've had a few too many bouts of insomnia in the last couple of weeks. And then every time I get insomnia, I get into a stage where I just need to catch up. I just need to make up for it by napping. Yeah, where I'm from, the coldest it gets is -5. I'm in Vancouver now. But where I'm originally from, between -30 and 40 happens several times a year. But there are areas there's several times a year for a few days here and a few days there. There's areas in northern Canada where -30 to 40 is the average for weeks at a time. So, but no, so yeah, I've been napping a lot. I've been doing. You ever do the thing where you're just so? I don't know if it's. I don't think it's exhausting from the insomnia. It's just cycling. Does it make sense? Oh, I keep forgetting that you're near Ottawa. Yeah, so you're further north. So you would have been, if you're near Ottawa, then you would have been in the area that was, unless you weren't living there at the time, the big Quebec ice storm. The one where all the trees died. And they were without power for weeks and weeks. But I was a kid. That was a long time ago. We had like, well, near Ottawa, same thing. We get weather. When I was in Ontario, we would get weather in Ontario that would be devastating if it happened out here in BC or any place further south. And the biggest issue was people not having any experience with it, because that's always going to be a thing. That's nobody's fault. And lack of infrastructure to deal with it. No snow plows, salt trucks. Like coming out here, I was really surprised that nobody knew what a sidewalk plow was. I already said that. But anyway, yeah, so I've been napping a lot, so I haven't been around a lot. But I also chatted with Lisa. We realized there's no reason why I can't start coming on at 3 instead of 2. It's a better time for me. And it's like once in a while she'll have, I don't go on every single day. Once in a while she has stuff that she's doing right after work, but that's not every single day. Oh, we finally found out what was causing my mother. Oh, it's called, she had norovirus. Wow. And her infusions knocked out her ability to heal it. Well, at least they know what it is now. Oh, there you go. Yeah, what is, well, if here's the problem, if I need a WeChat, then I'm up all night. Then I'm not sleeping at all. Oh my God. I don't want to call it horrible. The things that I could do to distract myself when it's super late are all things that would wake me up to the point where it would make it worse. And it's like, lovely. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. No, I don't know if it's exhausting or not. I do not know how to describe this. It's just that I've always had chronic insomnia, so that's not a big deal. And I don't have a day job. Don't forget. If I'm up till 4 a.m., it's like, okay, I guess I'm sleeping in tomorrow. I need to get up for the dogs, but Yeah, the second wind you get at 3. Yep, I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning the other day. Got a second wind, boy, and wide awake. I was not impressed. Actually, then again, I mean, I always say that. I always make it sound way more dramatic when it is. The reality is that I wasn't really. I wasn't. In the moment. In the moment, I'm like, yeah. How is she now? My God, I am as distractible as a squirrel all of a sudden. But yeah, no, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's not that I don't have to get up in the morning. I don't have, I do not do any appointment. I don't do any appointments of any kind for any reason in the morning. I won't even answer the phone. Something went thunka thunka. There's my little scissors. Should be fine, but I should double check it. Yeah. No, I don't know. I've had chronic insomnia since I was a kid. So for me, it's just part of my norm. But also, like I said, no day job. So it's an annoyance. I will tell you, back in the days when I was a regular person with a regular job, though, oh my God, that was not fun. That was not a fun stage. But now it's just like, well, I guess I'm sleeping in. It's fine. Suggestions for 2 soul card decks. They are about oracle card size. Oracle cards are usually, this is a standard bag. Wait, soul cards, like regular soul, oh my God, Lisa has soul cards. Yeah, that's good. That's generally speaking going to go better in a, if I knew Lisa has both decks. Wow, yeah, very happy to find out it's something real. I can relate to that. I can relate to that. Like, yeah. Yeah, those ones. If you want to put them together in the same bag, you'll need a large. And if you bag them separately, then they should be able to go into a standard. You want to keep them in one bag but separate. Then if they're going into the same bag together, they need to go in a large. I don't think you can put them in with the box. So wait, I forget how that one comes. I don't know. Yeah, that's going to make it complicated. We're waiting to hear what her NMO specialist doctor has to say about treatment. So yeah, that's good. That always makes it all different. Like, back in the day, yeah, you just throw a couple of Tylenol, maybe an Advil, whatever, be on your way. And now it's like, oh no, I gotta check and make sure the doctor says I can have that. Love being over 50. This is my own pattern. Well, I'll be finishing them in a second. These are actually really easy to make. These are super easy to make. Yeah, I just reopened the shop after 7 months, but I can't sell to the States anymore. The tariffs are too much of an issue. If they fix the tariff problems in a way that lets me be able to ship affordably, then I can do that again. But until then, yeah, I kind of batch them up and separate and try to separate them. Like this is a pile that's all able to use darker threads for the top stitching. And I always use a decorative. I always use a decorative top stitching just because it looks nicer. It looks nicer. Yeah, this. Then you just swing back. There, one. Just separate them all out. It's just, it's a little, basically, since I make them for the shop, I try and do at least 2. I very rarely manage. Yeah, it's just for efficiency. I do them like this for efficiency, because I've got some blues, and I switched out to a blue top thread. For the blues, I got yellows. I switched out to a yellow top thread. So I just I grab whatever I'm going to grab, and then I sort them by colors and do them like as in groups. Of course, then sometimes I just do them a little too close together and need to use a stitch ripper between to break them up. Not the end of the world. Stitch rippers are lovely for getting into the tighter areas. There it is. I really should just be using a stitch ripper as a matter of course, but yeah. So now we're there. Oh, one. Yeah. I always have to grab extra for Lisa. I don't know that she's going to grab any of these. I think all of these, except for the mushroom one, have been into the Remember the blanket that I made for her recently? I just took 2 pieces, put them together so that they'd be upright on both sides, and then did that. I should finish that first. I just spotted a thing. Then you just line them up. I know. Whenever anybody asks me how to make a bag, I'm always make sure you pin it. And I'm so lazy. Actually, it's not laziness anymore. After a certain amount of repetition, you just don't need to anymore. Two stitches back. Come on, you can do it. 2 stitches back if it's willing to go back. Oopie. Yep. Been there, done that. Oh, that's why. Okay. It started to do the pattern, but since it's went that way towards the outside, I can just back it up and keep going. There we go. Yeah, I think I've grown beyond pinning. I'm so lazy. Mind you, then again, like for a while there, we need a puppy update. Puppies are doing okay. Puppies are doing okay. They're getting old and it's starting to show. But they're doing okay. Bruno's got something going on where he gets tremors now, but there's no pain. He's in no pain, but He's got, let me see. He's a diabetic. He's got bad knees. He's got no teeth. He's definitely pretty blind in the one eye now. But it's just aging stuff. Nothing happened. And he gets these odd little tremors, like he's just having, I don't know what it's from. But no pain. He's perfectly fine. He jumps up on the couch now, but he expects to face plant. So he just goes, blah, and he just relaxes. He just relaxes into whatever he's going to bounce off of. And then when it's time to get back down again, he just stands he gets up, he moves to the edge of the couch. He looks down, he looks at me, he looks down, he looks at me, and then he just waits. And then I put him down for him. So yeah, Bruno is 12. And Shayla's 14 and a half now. Shayla's got some. Shayla's doing fine. She's also losing vision. She's losing vision, and she's got a little bit of hair thinning on certain spots. But her biggest issue is that she does have a little bit of arthritis now. So she's on a medication. She's on a medication to get that under control. So she's doing better. But yeah, it's kind of like anybody asks about the puppies these days, and it's like I try to be really careful in how I state it because we're reaching that no guarantees stage of life. So anyway, yeah. So this one's done. That one's done. Upright on both sides. Yeah, exactly. Our cars are 13 and 15, but I'm not aging at all. So yeah, so this is done. I gotta get my little basket. I keep a little basket. Come on, you go. No, you can't go. What's going on here? That's what's going on. That goes there, that goes there. Oh, cats. Yep. All of the cat. Well, Baylor was 12. Lisa had a cat when we first got together, and he was already like 8 or 9. He was already 8 or 9 at the time when we moved in together. But then he got old, and he got cranky, and he got miserable. He was just old. He was a grumpy old man. But he got to a point where he just wouldn't come in the house anymore. He wouldn't go anywhere. He would just kind of hang out in the yard. He didn't want to go anywhere, but he also didn't want to be in the house anymore. And one night he just disappeared. So, but he also, because he was a grumpy old man, he would attack every dog he saw. But we saw nothing and we heard nothing. So we suspect, this is going to be creepy, but we suspect that he just kind of didn't wake up and that by morning a coyote had found him. Because we did have coyotes in the area at the time. But he was grumpy and elderly and refused, and he would just be miserable in the house. So it's like, okay. Like all the dogs in the neighborhood were afraid of him. So we didn't have too many worries about him. Yeah, I used to be a cat person. I'm still a cat person, but I'm allergic to them. And I don't know. I mean, you can't outgrow those kinds of allergies, but I'm allergic to Bruno. So I'm not allergic to Shayla because she has a hair coat, but I'm allergic to Bruno because he has a fur coat. So yeah, so once it's done, I just fold it, make sure that everything's tucked in nice and flat. Backstitch front and back, and then I'm done. So I did a thing. Every now and again, I will be on Facebook or whatever, and I'll check and see what kind of fabric. I've been kind of thinking that I've got extra fabric that I might just see if I can sell it on Facebook, but I don't know if I want to put the time into it. And I found some fabric. So I got a stash of I got somebody else's stash. Here's what I got though. Let me just maybe I got this. These are all backing. They're all backing pieces, and backing is double wide, so you can do the back of an entire quilt from a single piece of fabric. So there's my next 4 quilt backs. That one, and it's got almost a washed out look, but that's intentional. And it's clean. It's clean and in good condition, or I wouldn't have taken it. That one, a nice beige. That'll go with almost anything. This one here. I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to be using it as a quilt, but I don't know what quilt that's going to be for. And then I've got a really nice This is not showing up properly. Oh no, now it is. Almost. This is purple. This is purple. That's making it look a little bit more blue than what it was. But check this out. Okay, so then she's got odds and ends that she also included. Odds and ends that I've already sorted. Now none of this is going to go into the shop. It's used. It's brand new, but it is used. I prefer to do my own curating for the shop. That's because that's business. But when it comes to quilting, it's kind of nice. I never buy solids, and now I've got a small collection that I can include in some stuff. But yeah, non-smoking, but check this out. Check this out that came with it. This one's hard to see, but there's a little hummingbird up in the corner. Yeah. Bears. Deer. So that one right there. More bears, foxes, and deer. Deer. This is all deer. So the hummingbirds, what she's done is she took panels. She took panels. I don't know if I've got a big enough piece, but you know. So she's buying panels, right? And the only pieces that seem to be missing are the fox and the hummingbirds. So she bought, when you buy these pieces, you might have like 20. You might have 20 or so this size on a single panel, right? And from the looks of it, I gotta tidy it back up again. So it looks like she bought yards and yards of this stuff just to get those two things, just to get the fox and the hummingbird. Because that's the only thing that everything else, like 10, 12 of everything. So yeah, and so she got the pieces that she wanted for her quilt. Yeah, bear. So these came in pairs all the way across. But yeah, she only wanted the one thing. So that's all she took. She left everything else behind. I am definitely going to make an enchanted forest quilt. This is going to be a quilt project. And now there's a little bit here. That's the filler fabric. So I'm making a fox quilt next. Not next. I've got a couple of other quilts that I want to do next. But what I'm going to do is focus on that beige. Yeah. The beige with this is going to be great. And there are so many of these that I can just start sewing these together into entire sections. And then just use a little, and because I don't know, I've got to do the math. I've got to do some mental math. It's not the end of the world one way or the other. But what I've got to do is everything else I've got tons of. But if there's not quite enough of this, I don't want to get started and then realize I'm out of this stuff to go in strips in between. I don't want to end up running out of this stuff because since I'm buying from somebody else's stash, I might not be able to replace it. So I've got to double check and make sure that this is going to be enough to go around. But yeah, so I got that. That's going to be a perfect quilt project for me. This stuff here, this depending on what brand it is. This and all the odds and ends that are sitting over there. And that's not everything. The smaller pieces that I can't use, I've bagged up, and I just am waiting to hear back, because there's always somebody online that's like, hey, if you have any small pieces, I'll take them. So I just sent off a message and said, hey, I'll take your small pieces. So 1 quilt top, 4 quilt backs. This stuff here, anything like this that's double wide for quilt backing, can go for up to $40 a yard or more. And I paid $40 for all of this. And then there were these that were already that she obviously did a couple of extra as she did her project. These are the only ones that she worked with. So all I've got to do is finish the trimming. And I've got 1, 2. These 2 are together. I don't know if I can, there's a couple of ways to save these 2. These 2 are together, but they don't match, but she used a really tight stitch. I might not be able to get in there with the stitch ripper to separate them, but it doesn't matter because there's this one and that one and that one. So I've got 4 of these and they're already done. I just have to finish them. So I'm going to finish these today. So that's 5 more. That's 1, 2. That's 5 and possibly 7 for the ugly quilt drawer as well. So yeah, but the thing, free quilting cotton, including backing. So it's like, what do you mean backing? Because I need basically everything. I got a hell of a deal. $40, and that's $40 Canadian, which in American would probably be about 30, 32, 33 for all of that. So yeah. So I got an amazing deal. And there's another piece. There's another piece that's extra wide, but it's not, that's got the extra width on the fabric, but it's only about a 1 yard piece. So if I want to mix it with something else, I can get like halfway into another one. So yeah, I said, what the heck? I need to go. I want to go for it because I've got a ton of fabric. I've got a ton of variety, but every single thing that I've got with tarot in mind, not with home quilting in mind. So it's like I was saying the other day, is I want to do an ugly quilt focusing on girly colors for Lisa, right? But I don't have those kind of colors. Not really, because I mean, I've got some, but not the variety that I have of the blues and the purples and the darker colors. It just, I don't know. That's what I gravitate to for stuff that I pick up for the shop, right? Anyway, so yeah, it's like, hey, honey, I want to get this so that I can improve my, the backing. I would have gotten that just for the backing alone. So everything else was a bonus. And to be honest, for $40, I expected to have to sew 1 or 2 of those pieces together still have to sew them together to get it's got the right width, but is it the right length? Yeah, right width of fabric, but is it the right? Do they have enough yardage for me to actually use it? And it's like, wow. Anyway, I was really happy with that. Made me happy. Yeah, I've just got to finish closing these bags. Come on. I was smacking around. Oh, great. Yeah, I only sew live. I only come on live anymore. Lisa and I are we were kind of chit-chatting about it the other day, and I'm like, I don't know what I think about it, because 2:00 just doesn't really work for me anymore. And she's like, well, I don't care if you're sewing. I don't care if you're still sewing when I come home. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, I think I'm going to start coming on at 3. It's a better time all the way around. If anything's going to come up in the middle of my day, I'm going to know about it by 1. So, like, you know, all the dog stuff. Also, anything that I need to do with the dogs, like if somebody decides to get really, really worked up about needing a WALK, that sort of thing. So starting at 2 o'clock can sometimes be not hectic in some, oh my God, my life is over kind of way. It's definitely a first world problem, but well, that's a good start. I just want to get, now I was thinking for the ugly quilt that I might just make some 20 by 20 pieces as well, just to speed up my process. But then it's like, I'm overthinking because I don't need to do that. I just need to start. I just need to get back to it. But yeah, so far ugly quilting has been working out really well, getting me a chances to use stuff up. But oh, and then there are people that basically sell. Later would be better because the dishes are over. The dinner's over and the dishes are done. You know what? That's better timing too. Like, I mean, I do this so I can hang out with people. So picking a time where nobody can hang out doesn't really work either. So that's a thing. But no, I was just kind of thinking about it, and it's like I've got to start. Okay, it's really easy to like, well, you know, but I've got to start regularly sewing for the shop again anyway, or there's no point in even regularly. I don't know. Like I don't think I'm going to be doing those big. I don't know. Well, I don't think I was live streaming then where I would be like have 100 to do a week. Like I am slowing down intentionally to begin with. So, but yeah, at the very least. But I want to. Now that I've got more stuff. Now that I've got some backing, I was actually really hesitating over the one idea that I had, because I've got two things. I've got like almost a whole bolt of backing back there, but it's all the same color, and then you get tired of putting the exact same thing on every single quilt. So I was actually thinking, you know what you could do too, Trisha? Just a second. I was actually thinking of maybe selling some of my fabric. I've got fabric like, okay, like on my boutique, I've got fabric that never makes it into the shop. I've used it for personal projects, but I am supposed to be slowing down. So it's like, I wonder if I should maybe start thinking about selling some of the fabric that I know I'll never get to. But I don't think I don't have to rush a decision on that, because that's going to be oh, no. That's not out of your league. Jesus, no. Okay. Now you don't have a machine though, right? Yeah. Backing is really expensive here too. So getting four full-size pieces of backing for $40, it's like, you can't turn that down. You really can't turn that down. And if I'm only using it for personal projects, then it's like, oh, okay. Like if it really stunk of cigarettes or something like that, like, and I get it. If you're already a smoker, you don't really care if your fabric smells like smoke. But if it was like, if there was something wrong, if there was something wrong with the fabric, I wouldn't have taken it. I wouldn't use it. But it's like, nope, non-smoker. I think for me, non-smoker is a big thing. But yeah, oh, you do use your sisters, because here's the thing. Let's just take a break. I'm always up for taking a break. Distract me, people. Okay. La 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 la. Okay, so that's the ugly quilt, right? This is what I'm doing. You might have missed it when I was talking about this. Okay, so this is one piece for the ugly quilt, right? So is this what you're a singer? Oh, singers are good. This is one piece for the ugly. Is this what you're doing, where you do your whatevers and then puzzle piece it together? with a zigzag, right? So once you have this together and you make yourself a second one, all you have to do is zigzag the two together. And that's all I'm doing. My entire ugly quilt is going to be, I'm going to do a 20 by 20. So I'm going to make a stack of 20 by 20s. Okay. I'm going to make a stack of 20 by 20s. So this is done. This is done. And then I just have to go and sew them together. And then when I get two more, I'll zigzag those two together, and then I'll just match them up and zigzag them this way. So this breaks down quilting into its lowest common denominator. Individual things. Oh, that's just the creasing. Individual things, individual 20 by 20 or 16 by 16 or 10 by 10 or whatever works, right? What'd you say, Jenny? Oh, new commute. Yeah. But no, like, so you do this one, and then once it's done, if you do it, then save it or use it, right? Obviously save it or use it, it's yours. But if you want to make a bigger one, all you're doing, but I originally thought that I was going to piece together this big monster and then zigzag it all together. And I realized that doing 20 by 20 and putting it together incrementally, 120 piece at a time, is going to be a lot easier for me. It's going to be a lot less. It's actually less work. It's easier to manage it and maintain it, because you have to be able to wrestle all this shit into the machine, right? So this was my test piece. So then when I'm ready, I'm just going to add it to whatever else and just start putting it all together. So you can do as, if you can get the first one done, you can make it as big as you want. After that, it's just a matter of adding pieces. You're going to go down the side, down the bottom, down, and you just go. Okay, lecture over. And obviously don't listen to me, because you have to do whatever makes sense to you. You have to do whatever makes the most sense to you. I'm busy. Oh my God, it's already almost 4:30. This is what happens. I'm blaming you guys. Show you. Maybe I could. Okay, I lost track. Annie, show you what? There's about what's the delay? About almost a minute between me opening my big mouth and you guys getting to hear it. I lose track all the time because I'm also trying to sew at the same time. But don't worry, any delays in sewing, I blame on everybody. Yeah, I'm thinking, show you what? Show me, because if it's something quick, I can show you right now. All I'm doing right now is closing the bag. So everything else in the bag is done. So I'm absolutely happy. How to make the blocks like your ugly quilt. Oh, this is, I'll show you right now. I will show you right now. Okay. So I'm going to show you in sections, because I got that there. So basically, are you familiar with Quilt As You Go? Look at everybody else going, oh, Peggy's distracted. What else is new? Okay. We're going to do this one. We're going to do this one over here. So the blocks are simple. You just pick your fabric, pick a piece of batting, decide on what size you want it. I don't think I want it this big. Okay. Get your rotary cutter. Because you're gonna do it. Oh my God, no. Just ask around. I don't care. Raise your hand if you think I care about being distracted. I don't mind this. I come on here so I can be social while I'm sewing. Okay, I'm not measuring this. Okay. First priority, I am going to make sure it's nice and straight. So now that I've made my couple of cuts, I'm going to square it up. Okay. And I already know, oh, that is good. Okay, we're going to go all the way over there. I don't really care if it's 100% perfect. So I'm just going to go with that. And I'm just going to double check that one against that one. They're fine. Okay. So what do I got? What do I got? What do I got? What do I got? I've got a whole pile of stuff over here. Let's just use a piece of these solids. Is this big enough? Is this wide enough? That's wide enough. Okay. Oh, it's not ironed. Okay, we're going to use this piece now. Exactly. It's what I'm here for. So this is really simple. So you've got this is going to be self-binding. Clashing is better. Clashing is good. Clashing is fun. If you want to quilt a design or pattern, now is the time. Otherwise, you're just going to get a pin to hold it in place. I'm not going to bother. This is a high rated batting. Yeah, trust me, it's fine. If I were to just sit here and make if I were to sit here and just churn bags, I would have. I come here. I like to come on here so I can work and chat and get distracted. So like I said, if you want to quilt it, do it now, right? And then cut an inch all the way around. Yeah, are you familiar with self-binding? I tell everybody about self-binding. I'm a big fan of self-binding. This is the simplest thing that you're going to do. Then you go around. Oh, I didn't have to do that all the way around. I could have just grabbed one. No, I haven't double checked the measurements. Okay. Now you make this as bigger. This is as narrow or as wide as you want it to be. Clashing. These clash. These do not go together. Clashing is encouraged. You'll see why in a second. I'm putting the crappy gloves on. I have really dry skin. So if I keep these are quilting gloves. Oh my God, self-binding is the easiest thing. Here's self-binding. Okay, now clips or pins, obviously use them generously until you get used to this. So what you do is you measure how wide you want your binding to be, okay? And then you just fold it in half, right? I'll do it from the top. You might get just in case it changes your ankle, fold it in half until it's just touching the edge here. So fold it in half and then fold it up and over that edge. Pin it, clip it. You just come back in here. I just broke that one. Pin it, clip it, do whatever you need, right? Whatever works for you to hold it in place, okay? You know what holds it in place for me? Okay, I've got a knee lift for starters. I've got a knee lift over here. So there it is. It's like having a third hand. So I can hold on to everything properly. I'll be honest. Before I got my knee lift, I would put a clip here to get started. Now, because this is called, I call this an ugly quilt. This is a very specific invention, all my own. This is not going to show up very well on the camera, is it? Start all the way up there. Start one or two stitches from the top. Yeah. Okay, so start 1 or 2 inches from the top, 1 or 2 stitches from the top, and just go back. Go back first. It's just easier. You don't have, if I could grab that little thread. I'm just using black because I don't care, because clashing is fine. Now, all you got to do, like I said, I took that pin out and I should have left the pin in. Leave the whatever, a little bit of spray basting. You know what? People use glue sticks for this too. And now you're going to come. There's a couple of ways to do this, right? And if you're not familiar, what I will often do is just before I get to the end, I'll get my corner ready, but I'm going to go all the way to the end. All the way to the end. Okay? You don't have to backstitch if you don't want to. So you've got that, right? That's one side done. Your next side, fold it in half, fold it again. Throw a clip in if you need to. Don't if you don't need to. And what you're going to do, okay, this is a trick that I have found works the best, is to start your stitch about here. I can't even get into the camera. Oh, fuck, I hate this camera sometimes. Is it going to go? Okay. Start your stitch about halfway and then back up, because you've got a lot of layers here. And if you're trying to drive uphill, you're going to grind that up a little bit. So start your first stitch here, go back and then forward. Or I'm sorry. I'm holding it the wrong way. You got to start your stitch here and then go back and then forward. God, I'm holding the wrong side. Ignore that whole first spot. So yeah, you just turn it down the same way you did the first piece. Avoid driving uphill. Avoid driving uphill by starting your stitch here and go back and then forward. That's not hard. Stay as close to the edge as is comfortable for you. Now, you can get schmancy. You can go right off the edge, then do it again, then go do it again, right? Or if you want to get schmancy. Now, this is if I remember. We are not going to discuss how often I get distracted and then forget to do this. So you get a little close. This is where it gets confusing. There they are. This is where it gets confusing for people because the camera view isn't always great. Some people like to stop here and then do their fold, because then you're doing the exact same thing. It literally is. It is the exact same thing. It's just a fancy trick where you can fold it first and then you don't have to go all the way to the edge. And as soon as you pass that area and are sewing into the new fold over, yeah, you just go all the way around. Finish that. So I just went up and over into this side now. So now I'm just going to back stitch to the corner to hold that seam down, to hold that area down. And then we just go right to the end and a couple of back stitches and it's done. And that is self-binding. Hope it made sense. The camera certainly wasn't cooperating. When and where possible, I talk about what I'm doing as I'm doing it for the benefit of anybody who's wandering in, looking for a reminder. Obviously, get rid of the pin, and that's done. Okay, so that's self-binding. You can look up and you can look up self-binding anywhere. Self-binding is very common. I find that for me to understand how to do something when I'm finding something on the interwebs, for me to understand how to do it, I usually look for 3 or 4 different videos that talk about it, because I have found that different people teach different things with different levels of effectiveness. Does that make sense? Okay, and then you throw it in a bucket that looks like this. Okay. With all kinds of shit in there that shouldn't be in there. And you just save it. You just save it until you have a minute or 2 or 5 or 10. You take that piece, and then maybe you take a big piece, right? And you figure out. Now I'm doing all of mine. I got a stack over here that's on the to be sewn list. So this is a great way. The size and the shape. The size and the shape does not matter yet, okay? So I want these to be, where's my big ruler? That's the 15 by 15. I want these to be 20 inches by 20 inches. So I start on the 20, this is the 20-inch line right here. So I start a piece there. I've also got a few pieces that I did, and I'm going to do more, where I just sewed them and then flipped them. So I got a piece there. And then I'll go find the 20 line up there. This is the trick. This is the trick that I found. La, la, la. So I've got a 20 line is right there. So I'll put a piece that goes there. So 20. And then that line goes to there. And I'll keep this little guy where we can see it. Okay. And we'll put this little guy right there. It's not the right size. I need a smaller one. Okay, put that one there. Okay. So now I've got all 4 corners, and you can get a piece of like a jigsaw puzzle, but do it from the outside to the inside. Just trust me, because you want your outside lines to be nice. And see, that one doesn't fit. This one doesn't fit because it pushes this one off by 1/2 inch. You are literally playing jigsaw puzzle with this. So you're going to go, is that one? That one will fit. Look at that. That one will fit. It's fabric. Fabric is flexible. So it's okay if it's off by a tiny bit. It's like, oh, this is off by a tiny bit. It's like, that's okay. I can force it to fit because I'm one of those people. Then you just go through and you go, here's a little guy. Does he fit? He fits right there. Do I have what do I have? Now that's almost the same size. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 empty spots left, right? So this is where it gets a little weird. And you have to do it. You have to do it to your comfort level. It has to be done to your comfort level, or it doesn't make sense. So I've got nothing in this pile. Oh, this might be big enough, small enough. This one might be coming out. I need a little tiny bit wider. Is that one wide enough? That one's too, oh, wait. Yeah, and then you just, because we don't care how they go together. We just care that they go together. That one goes, see, that one doesn't quite go because I'll have to do too narrow of a spot up here. So anyway. So you're going to futz. You're going to fiddle and futz and fiddle some more until you get placements that you like. And you may be able to use the piece you just made, or you may not. And then what you're going to do, I've got more pieces and I just don't want to take up, that kind of time because it's already 4:30. Not the end of my world, but I know we do have a couple of errands tonight. Okay. So this is why you don't care if it clashes. Okay. Now, self-binding is interesting because on when you're doing self-binding, this is the secret. When you're self-binding, whatever you choose to go in here, whether you're going to do 2 pieces or 1. Okay, so you've got this here, right? To do a piece in self-binding, and I ran through it really quick, but what you're going to do for self-binding is you're going to, whatever piece you cut, that can be cut exact because the other piece rolls around it and doesn't make it any smaller. Did that make sense? I don't know how to make it make sense. Okay. So I want, that piece is going to work. So this section here is now the section I need to fill in. Okay. When I'm doing these, they're actually sitting over there. This table's got a ruler on it too. So I need this to be almost exactly 5 inches. And if I want to fill it all the way up to the top, I need it to be 6 inches. Let's see what I got here. That's 5 inches. That's 6 inches. So I get up my trusty thing. And this is assuming I don't already have a piece. I probably have a piece that's going to be exactly the right size, but I'm just too lazy to do it. So then I go 5 by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 by 6, right? match it up with a piece of scrap batting. And honestly, for this project, I don't even care what kind of batting I'm using because I want everything to be like, there's a piece. I match it up with a piece of batting, trim it to the same size. I can still use that. I can still use this little guy. Take that off. Take that off. There. Take that off. So now I've got exactly the piece that I'm going to need to go here, right? I just got to get that a little bit off. I've got exactly the piece that I need because this is, so I've got the 5x6 batting, the 5x6 top. I ended up not using that other piece. So now I can just go like this. I've got this has to be cut like to size. This is just what's going to wrap around it. So you put it together as best you can, and then you fill in the gap with precision cut. This is precision cut, right? So you can use up all your scraps and do whatever you're going to do. And then when it comes time to finish each piece, you cut one or two, get the, this is all scrap, by the way. Every single piece of this is scrap from other projects, which means I can be a little bit lazy about how I trim it. I'm just not giving myself a lot of table space right now, right? So then I can do a crisscross. I can do whatever I need to do. Yeah, it's a way to, but look, okay, so imagine that I've done this, right? Imagine that I've finished this one up and it's all ready to go. So that's there. That's there. That's going to, that's there. Did I tuck that in right? Ah, I tucked it in wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, I made one I made one and it's wrong. Goes back in the bin for the next one. So that one goes there. Well, look at that. That one goes even better, right? That one can't go there now. So anyway, but look how narrow that one is. That piece of batting fits. So you don't need to throw away anything. So again, if you end up adjusting it as you go, you don't care. As long, just figure out, okay, so get the self-binding technique. So then, all you're gonna do is like you would do for a regular square. I had one. Where'd it go? Okay. Once you get these all sorted out the way that you want them, then all you're going to do is you're going to lay these out somewhere that makes sense. Okay. Lay them out somewhere that makes sense. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not actually going to do it because I know that this is shifted. That is 20. That is 20. That's on the wrong line. Okay. So once I'm satisfied with how it jigsaws together, I want to say it right. And when I'm trying to say it right, I sometimes stutter I don't want to say it the wrong way and give the wrong idea, right? So self-binding stuff can be done to precision sizes. So then all you got to do is, okay, see this here where these two meet? You lay this out very carefully. See where these two meet. So you're going to pick them up. I'm not going to actually do it. You're going to get them settled onto your machine in whatever position makes sense to you. And then you're just going to zigzag. Them together. Okay. Zigzag them together. Then you're going to set that back down. You're going to grab. Okay. So you've zigzagged these two together. And maybe you've decided, if you already know that this is going on, if you already know that this is and this are going on, so you zigzag them together in sections that make sense to you. And every section is going to make sense in a slightly different way. You're going to zigzag them all together in ways that make sense to you until the whole thing is until the whole thing is connected to itself. Like you can go down here. So I can take this to the machine and go down here, and then I can just tuck that into place and keep going, right? Okay, I'm glad it makes sense. And then, like I said, if you don't already have a piece that's cut to size, then you make a piece that fits how you need it. Fabric is also flexible. So like these two are ever so slightly overlapping. Maybe something shifted, maybe whatever, right? Well, you can just go and make them fit. You can force them to fit a little bit with each other. So yeah. And then when you're done, so you zigzag it, you zigzag everything until it's all connected together. And then say you've zigzagged that, and then you've zigzagged that, and whatever's going to be here and that. So then you just check for any holes that you missed, zigzag them shut, and you're done. The whole thing, it's super simple, uses up everything. And I will tell you right now, rule number one, everything must clash as much as possible, or it makes no, if you start, unless you have an actual plan in mind, if you are just using up scrap that you don't want to have to think too hard about, then grabbing clashing fabrics to do stuff, because that just adds a pop of color, right? Anyway, so you got the hurried redneck explanation. I work on these when I work on these. Sometimes I'll do a whole bunch at a time. Sometimes I won't. I've got, from the stash that I've got a bunch here that I'm going to finish. And I think coming up this weekend, I'm going to try and get, but yeah, I've got 2 bins of these, all kinds of colors. And you know what else it's good for? If I can find one. Do I have one? Nope, I don't have one handy. Yeah, this is what it's good for. Don't worry, this is already part of a bigger mess. I wanted to try a new block. It's like, hey, I wonder what it would look like if I did this on a block. So I turned these all funky, and then I backed it on something exciting, and then I still did self-binding on this, but I added the extra piece later. That's a kind of a slightly different style. So yeah, so I can test different block designs that I might like, and then add them to the quilt, because this was a fun idea to see. I forget what I was trying to do. I've got a half square, a little one, a bigger, couple of half square triangles. I wanted to see how they would fit together if I didn't put them in a pattern. Worked great. That's a pattern that I tried. Oh, I'll show you the one I did do, which is this one. So this is what I was trying to make. But when I was making it, I forget where it went wrong. These are the exact same piece. There's more of them, but they're the exact same pieces. And you cut them up and get them ready to go, but then you have to sew them back together in a particular order, right? They got out of order. The fabrics got out of order as I was putting them back together. So instead of fixing it, I just went, well, let's keep it out of order intentionally, and then see how it looks, and throw it in the ugly quilt. So every time I screw up a block, it goes there. This, by the way, this is a plate, and we have really big plates and bowls. So this is a plate/bowl holder. But yeah, so you can see got stuff spilled on it. Let's get this dirty thing off my table. Anyway. I have no idea where I got the idea. No idea whatsoever. Probably some. You ever see something on the internet? I'm gonna get going though, because I know I'm gonna be here, and Lisa's gonna be home any minute, and we do have it's just a small errand, but we do have to take off right after work. Very soon. Well, not right away, but we have to take off in a bit. Some something happens and catches your attention. Yeah, I got to finish that one too. Something happens and catches your attention, but you kind of like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then like a week later, you're going, hey, there's this really cool idea. You know, it's not your idea. I know that that ugly quilt was not my idea, but I cannot for the life of me remember where I got it from. Anyway, it's a great way to use up scrap. And since the whole idea, and this started because it was actually, I actually got the, well, okay, I got the idea because of a different idea that I got like 25 years ago. And that was for knitting up leftover fabrics. Doing the same thing with leftover knitting. What's going on? Oh, it is going. I don't know what happened there. I'll have to check it. Doing the same thing with knitting and then piecing that together like a jigsaw, because it made great blankets for the kids. Because I didn't have to, if the kids wrecked a piece of, if the kids ripped a hole, I could just cut out. I don't want those scissors for that. If the kids tore a hole in in the knitted blanket, instead of being upset that a knitted blanket got a hole in it, I would just take out just the one piece and replace just one small piece. Anyway. Oh my God, I'm still coughing. I don't know what I did. I am going to, well, it's almost 5. Lisa hasn't shown up here yet. Yeah, it has been nice catching up and chatting. And it's great that you're A, liking your job, and that B, your mom's doing better. Tell her we all said that we're happy she's doing better. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we were talking about whether or not I might want to eventually actually start coming on a schedule. I know that every time I come on, not every time, but I'll come on and do a live and then people are like, oh, I'm so sorry I missed you. And it's like, oh yeah, because I kind of do it at the last minute. But anyway, you know what? I don't need to finish this one. I'm gonna have to finish this line though. I'm gonna finish this one, then I'm gonna go. Now, it sucks to be going through stuff when you don't know, and it sucks to already have something going on, and then you add something to it. It's like, especially that she couldn't eat. That's sad. I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't eat, because you can tell. I know I'm a horrible person, but it's fine. Anyway, yeah. Other than that, we don't have a lot going on right now, though, which is kind of nice. Like I said, insomnia has been kicking my ass. Well, insomnia leading to the need for naps. Yeah, it was lovely to meet you. Come on back anytime. And like I said, I think going forward, I'm going to start coming on around 3, because that's plenty of time to know if something's going to come up or I'm going to start crashing because I need a nap. I'll have plenty of time to know where I'm at. But anyway, I'm going to get going. I'm going to check in on the wife and see when we're running out. And I will get my mouse and I will see you guys later. It was lovely to hang out. I don't know what the hell's going on with this webcam, because there's nothing wrong with it. And it seems to just hate me a little bit more every day. Look how it's like just a millimeter affects the light. Anyway, you guys it's the weekend. It's Friday. You guys everybody have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye. Oh, got to do the thing again. I got to do this better this time.